Hello?
Hi, Rod. How you doing?
Okay. Oh my gosh. So sorry. I don't care whose fault it was. We're talking, we're hanging. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us. Thank you.
I don't know what you're talking about, Rod.
Perfect. Okay. Then
Okay.
let's just move forward. How are you, Chris?
So, from my perspective, I just met you and you seem great.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So you've got a big show here coming up. You've got a fairly new album, The Music of Spheres. May 8th is when you're going to be here at NRG Stadium as you make your triumphant return to Houston. Boy, when you look at this career, 100 million albums and a handful of Grammys and Brit Awards and, achieving one of the biggest musical acts in the world. And I think there's a Sexy Vegetarian Award in there. I guess the only thing we would need to know is when you get dressed, is it sock, shoe, shoe, or is it sock, shoe?
I never heard of that one. Is that a real thing?
That's a real thing. I mean, I guess it's probably the only thing you've never been asked before. So that's the last bit of business we got to clear up and you can be on with your day.
Then my Wikipedia page is finished. I don't really like to wear shoes and socks if possible. So
okay. Yeah, you are a surfer guy. Like, I feel like you're barefoot a lot, right?
Yeah, I like to be barefoot a lot, but I'm afraid I'm a conventional sock, shoe. What are you?
I'm an efficiency whore. So my foot's already up there. So I put my sock on. I feel like I might as well just put my shoe on. It's right there, ready to go. So I think I'm unconventional when I take care of one foot at a time, but that's here nor there. We can talk about some other things if you have some time.
Oh, it's okay. Let's stay on footwear.
Dude, so much has been talked about with this live show. And, you're going to have to explain just a few things to me about this live show that's coming up next week here in Houston. Now, I've seen you live before. And I've told people this before, seeing a Coldplay show, it really is an experience. Lasers, there's confetti, there's huge, massive balloons, and then there's LED wristbands, and they're 4 songs in, and the place is trashed like the end of the night. It's, for most bands, that's like a finale, and you guys are only into your 4th song. So this live act and this live show you've put together, you're constantly, it seems like you're really trying to always outdo yourself. That pressure has to be enormous.
Well, that's a great way of putting it, Rob. But I think it's just, we're just trying to have as much fun as possible from the get-go. And we, sometimes to our detriment, never really care how much we're spending on wristbands and balloons. And, so yeah, we do have a lot of tricks, but I wouldn't want to do a concert without them, really.
Who did you see growing up that maybe put that in your head? We've all been to different styles of concerts before, and I've been to concerts. I'm not going to name any, but I've been to bands before that I really love, and they're kind of out there and they're just kind of looking at their shoes, and it's just a different vibe. Was there something that you grew up with that you saw that you said, you know what? Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, well, I grew up very religious, so I saw a lot of preachers and then bigger preaching things. So that's kind of like a spiritual thing. And then I really fell in love with artists like this band called the Flaming Lips.
Yeah,
who I really learned a lot from. I learned a lot from a guy who was a year older than me at school, who taught me all about Motown and James Brown and everything. So it was a really strange mix of like very traditional, old-fashioned English church music in big cathedrals, and then like American soul and R&B.
Right, but not a lot of lasers and confetti in church.
Yeah, no, but there is, I mean, I guess in a sort of non-visible way.
Sure.
And then I saw this band, the Flaming Lips, and that changed a lot for me, just about the joy of performance. And then I keep finding people who reignite our live thing, and that would be things like Arcade Fire, or there's a Belgian guy called Stromae who just lit me up. And then watching Beyonce perform, there's just lots of people that keep inspiring us live.
Do you, I imagine like most things, do you have a wish list? And then who is it that tells you, okay, I love you, Chris, but no? I mean, I feel like there's probably a lot of people that want to make you happy and they want you to do the show that you want to do. Have you guys brought something to the team and they're like, guy, we just can't, we can't do this. Okay. Like we can't pick up the whole stage and we can't flip flop it on the other side of the stadium. We can't do that one.
Yeah, that question is almost too pertinent right now for me to answer. It's too on the money. But I will say, to try and segue off that question, we're super happy to come to Houston, and it isn't really a triumphant return because last time we were there, we had breakfast in the morning and then decided that we couldn't do the show because of the hurricane. So we're just desperate to play there to make that good, to make up for that, you know?
Yeah.
And also, since we were there, my cousin lived in Houston and he just passed away. So, and his kids are there. So it's like an extra emotional.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, that's okay. And so I'm just excited to come play there. But I wouldn't call it a triumphant return. I'd call it a excited comeback.
Okay. I like that. I like that. Just give me like one little technical thing about this upcoming concert, because I know there's a lot of renewable energy and you know, we've talked about stuff like vegetable oil. That's like all over my head. I think the thing that fascinates me, and when we talked about it, when we first announced the tour, it was this kinetic energy floor.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like we're in the audience are going to be powering the stage, treadmill. I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
can you explain that part? Because it's fascinating.
So the whole show itself, not the transport, that's a whole other issue. But the show itself that you see when you come in is all powered by renewable energy. A lot of that's coming from these batteries that run on biofuel and recycled oil and everything, recycled cooking oil stuff. And then part of the concert is powered by bicycles. And part of the concert is powered, as you said, by these two areas of kinetic floor. So once we open the doors at about 4 p.m., every 20 minutes or so, we play House of Pain's Jump Around, and people jump on the floors, and that creates power. So it's very interactive in that sense. So yeah, everything you said is true.
It's really unbelievable. And I feel like are you just coming up with this stuff? Who are these brilliant minds? I mean, throw your own name in the hat there. Who's coming up with these things?
Well, that's a great question. I think the great thing about social media these days is if you say you're doing something, lots of people will reach out with their opinion on that, but also people will reach out if they work in that industry. So we said we'd really like to try and clean up how we tour. And then just a deluge of amazing people saying, well, we build kinetic floors and we have these batteries and we build solar sheeting and stuff like that. And we just say, okay, cool, we'd love to work with you. So we don't do anything except just say yes to people who are great.
So the new album, it's your 9th studio album, Music of Spheres, and I've noticed, I mean, it's just such a huge trend in the music industry to do a lot of collaborations. I know you got Selena Gomez. The second single had BTS, which these videos that you're making, again, talk about like taking things to the next level. The videos that you guys have put out. But I'm wondering about collaborations, because you've worked with everybody from Kanye to Michael Stipe. And is there someone on your punch list that you haven't yet checked off yet that, you know, like a dream collaboration for you?
Because
you've had a lot of opportunities already, you know, Jay-Z, the stuff you did with Jay-Z, unbelievable.
Yeah. Thanks. I think those things are always led by the song. You know, a song appears from wherever songs come from in the ether. And sometimes it just feels like, oh, this feels like it's for us and this person. And it's always a person we're a big fan of. So I don't know what the next collaboration might be or who with, because they sort of get dictated by the songs. I mean, I do sort of know, but I just can't. I don't.
Okay. So I promise a simple yes or no. I won't follow up. It'll kill me not to follow it up.
Oh, Rod.
Have you called up somebody and said, I got this song, you'd be perfect. I really need you on this track. And no, thanks. Click.
Yeah, a few people.
Stop! I gotta know who. No, I won't. I promise I wouldn't. Unless you want to tell me.
But to be fair, never on a song that's really good. We've had a couple of no's, and the people that said no were right because the song wasn't good enough. I mean, we haven't really done that many big proper collaborations. There's been like 4 or 5, and the ones that haven't worked out didn't work out for a reason.
I said I wouldn't follow up. And I'm not asking who, I promise. I'm just saying they heard the song and said no, or they just said no out of the gate.
Yeah. Like I've said this, I told people before. One time I dreamt, excuse me. One time I dreamt a song, and it had David Bowie in it. And I said, "Would you like to do it?" And he said, "Yes." And then I played him the song, and he said, "No." And he was right. Yeah, but he was totally right.
No, he wasn't. You could have been in the room with David Bowie. Come on.
No, I was in the room with David Bowie, but he was very sweet, and he said, "I don't think this is one of your best songs," and he was really right. And that's happened once or twice, and I like that there's an honesty to it. And then
David Bowie maybe is one of 5 people that could look at you and tell you that a song's not good. Maybe one of 5.
Millions of people who can. We live in social media age.
Well,
many people tell me a song's not good. It's okay.
What's been kind of fun is some of your appearances, and this I really don't know about you, but some of your appearances on some TV shows and in some movies, and it's always seemed to have been really, really fun. I know for sure, like The Modern Family, Curb Your Enthusiasm. It seems like you have fun with that. Would you ever think about doing more of that, or do you like the amount that you kind of dabble in that stuff?
Yeah, I in those instances, Modern Family was my daughter's favorite show at the time, and we bonded over that show. And then Curb Your Enthusiasm is Curb Your Enthusiasm, so how could you ever say no to that? And I'm not an actor, and clearly I'm just like good for a cameo or 2 here or there. But I mean, I have this distant dream of being in Mary Poppins on like Broadway or something, but that's a long way off.
Okay, fair enough. I also wanted to mention, which I think is so amazing, that right off the top, Coldplay donates, and I don't know if everybody knows this, and I really do. Some people get uncomfortable, but I think everybody does need to know this, that Coldplay, one of the biggest bands in the world. You know who said that? It wasn't even 3 months ago that I was talking. Now I'm name dropping, but I'm talking to Noel Gallagher, and trying to get out of him if they're getting back together. And he said, "Listen, the truth is, we weren't the biggest band in the world." He goes, "We weren't as big as Foo Fighters. We weren't as big as Coldplay. We said we were, but we weren't." So he name dropped you, and he's talking about how big you guys are. But when I talk about that, there's a thing with Coldplay that you guys donate 10% of all your profits to charity. And I heard that was just like right off the top, and it's money that you guys never see or have access to. And that was something that you guys kind of sat down and made that decision a while ago?
Yeah, that is true from the beginning. But I want to go back to Oasis.
Okay.
I love Noel, and I don't agree with him. I would say that there was a period where Oasis were definitely the biggest band in the world commercially, but more importantly, the biggest band in the world culturally, especially where we came from.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain bands, that Nirvana being the other obvious example, and the Beatles, where they just have a window of time where it just seems like God is speaking through them. That's how I would describe it. Just every song sounds like it's always existed, and the impact that they have is bigger than anything. So
those guys. Do you ever say, "Guys, let's go, brothers"? Do you ever like to try to pull those 2 guys in the same room and negotiate something?
It's not. I don't get involved with that.
But he was very complimentary, is what I'm saying.
Oasis are one of the biggest bands ever for me, and for so many people who do my job.
Well, and like I said, he was being very complimentary when he said that. So as far as the charities, then you guys made this decision a long, long time ago. And again, talking about, I mean, I imagine, you get up to this certain level, and there's a lot of things that, get very busy. But charity work, is that something that you guys all sit around and you designate and you talk about where you want these things to go? Because 10%, that's a good whack of change.
Yeah, no, it's good. This time round, a lot of money from touring is going to a couple of things. One is a tree planting or forest preservation, and a group called One Tree Planted, who plant a lot of trees where they're needed. And then a group called Ocean Cleanup, who have built these machines that pick up plastic from water. And then we also help a group called Client Earth, which is a group of lawyers. They're like the Avengers for environment, and they just do environmental law, excuse me, and protect areas of wetland or forest. So we just give bits and bobs to people doing really good stuff.
Well, that's awesome. And I think it's very admirable. And I hope people are hearing about that for the first time. I think most people know that you guys really do get behind causes, and they know that it's an important part of, a part of Coldplay. But the music that you put out, continuing to just stay on top for such a long time, and reinventing yourself nonstop, it really is incredible. We look forward to this show, and I can't wait to see, what's next. So, I mean, a Coldplay show is an unbelievable immersive experience. And there's a few tickets remaining for this show, but these guys are selling out stadiums all over the world. So, Chris, I want to thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, Rod, thank you. What a great interview. Thank you for talking to me. Of course, you're welcome at the show if you want to come.
Oh, and, I'll be there. I'll be there, bro. I wouldn't miss you guys. It's just, again, it's a live experience, and it's not going to be four guys looking at their shoes.
Well, at points we do gaze at our footwear to see which sock we put on first. But apart from that, no, we're looking out. Okay, man.
Right. Thanks, bro. You were awesome today. Thank you so much.
You too. Take care, Rod.